begin by giving my... Russia is a menace in our waters, in our airspace, and on our streets. They've launched cyber attacks on our NHS. Only 7 years ago, a chemical weapons attack on the streets of Salisbury. We must stand by Ukraine, because if we do not achieve a lasting peace, then the economic instability, the threats to our security, they will only grow. Mr. Speaker, I want to be very clear. The nature of warfare has changed. As the nature of that conflict changes, as it has in recent weeks, it brings our response into sharper focus. A new era that we must meet, as we have so often in the past, together and with strength. First, NATO is the bedrock of our security and will remain so. Yeah. It has brought peace for 75 years. It is as important today as the day on which it was founded. Putin thought he would weaken NATO. He's achieved the exact opposite. Yeah. And it remains the organisation that receives the vast bulk of our defence effort in every domain, and that must continue. So this week, when I meet President Trump, the US is our most important bilateral alliance. It straddles everything from nuclear technology to NATO, to Five Eyes, AUKUS and beyond. It survived countless external challenges in the past. We fought wars together with the closest partners in trade, growth and security. So this week, when I meet President Trump, I will be clear. I want this relationship to go from strength to strength. We'll do everything we can to return to a world where that is not the case and rebuild a capability. So starting today, I can announce this government will begin the biggest sustained increase in defence spending since the end of the Cold War. Yeah. We will deliver our commitment to spend 2.5% of GDP on defence, but we will bring it forward so that we reach that level in 2027. I hope that that is common ground. But what I'm doing here is, in addition to the 2.5%, which is the increase in defence spend as it's always been understood, is to recognise that the nature of the threats to our country are different now, and that the security and intelligence services play a key part for us and for our allies in our defence, and that takes the total to 2.6. She asked me if we're going to tax to pay for the 2.5%. Or to borrow to pay for the 2.5%? The answer to that is no, which is why I've set out precisely pound for pound how we will pay for it today. That has meant a very difficult decision on overseas development, a very difficult decision, and not a decision that I wanted to take.
Leader of the opposition, can be better off.
Furthermore, the great lesson of our history is that tyrants like Putin only respond to strength. So today I have announced the biggest sustained increase in defence spending since the end of the Cold War. We will keep our manifesto commitment to spend 2.5% of our GDP on defence. But in light of the grave threats that we face, we will bring forward that target so we meet it in 2027. That is an increase of £13.4 billion year on year compared to where we are today. Subject to economic and fiscal conditions, we will also set out a clear ambition for defence spending to rise to 3% of GDP in the next Parliament. Clearly, this is the first and foremost a security imperative. But I also believe that it's a tremendous opportunity. We can use this investment to rebuild Britain's industrial base. So mark my words, we will make sure this investment maximises British jobs, British growth, British skills and British innovation. and we should be optimistic about the change that it will deliver by cutting our spending on overseas development, moving from 0.5% of GNI to 0.3%. I want to be clear. That is not an announcement that I'm happy to make. I'm proud of Britain's pioneering record on overseas development, and we will continue to play a key humanitarian role in war-torn countries like Sudan, Ukraine and Gaza, in tackling climate change and supporting international efforts on global health challenges like vaccination. And we will do everything to move towards a world where we can rebuild our development capacity. However, the realities of our dangerous new era mean that the defence and national security of our country must always come first. I think in our heart of hearts, we've all known that this decision has been coming for 3 years, since the beginning of the conflict in Ukraine. The last few weeks have accelerated my thinking on when we needed to make this announcement. Yes, it's true, President Trump thinks we should do more, and I agree with him. It chimes with my thinking on this. And by more, I mean more capability, I mean more coordination, and I need more spending. And we have to learn the lessons of the conflict, particularly when it comes to capability and coordination. The war being fought in Ukraine, I felt this very strongly when I was there a few weeks ago, is being fought now in a very different way to the way it was being fought just 3 years ago. We're seeing firsthand what conflict looks like in Europe in 2025.